Hello, everyone. Welcome to POLI 4012. Um, this is a course on aging, really. There's a long story in the course title, the actual name, Politics and Policy of Elder Healthcare. But basically, the overview of the course teaches you on the dynamic environment of the aging population, or what is soon to be a hyper-aged country, where 20% or more individuals are over the age of 65. But we'll get into more of that later as the course progresses. Welcome aboard. My name is Professor Stanley. I hail from Glenmore, Louisiana, about 20 miles south of Alexandria. I hold a bachelor's of science in public administration, a master's of arts in political science, and I'm currently in committee to receive my doctoral degree, my PhD, in health policy. So, specifically, my research is on hyperaging populations, also the health related quality of life of these populations, and also the cost of maintaining that health. So, taking care of these people, which is what this course is going to show you, the student. This is why you're in this course. Well, hopefully, the reason why is that you're wanting to go into the administrative side of taking care of the elderly. And we're going to learn about the different ways that you do that as an administrator. Uh, I've been in the corporate world for 15 years. I've ran numerous businesses. I have ran a home care business before the state put the moratorium on the creation of entities dealing with home health care. So a lot has changed in not only the state of Louisiana, but the country as well. And that's just a little bit about my background. We'll learn more about each other as we go through the course and we engage with each other. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is I want to demonstrate as much of the course as possible to you. However, we need to be realistic and understand that we'll never know as much as we want to know. And that's just the way learning works and learning occurs. And I remember as a young undergraduate actually going to the same school that you went to. Dr. James Rogers is the professor of history there, and he told me, I'll never forget, that the more you know, the more you want to know, and the more you know and you realize that you'll never know everything that you want to know. And you sort of realize that knowledge is this big open ended field that never stops. And that's how I want us to approach this. I want everyone to approach this as, you know, you are able to learn and contribute to the field. It doesn't matter if you're an undergraduate. It doesn't matter if you're a young professional starting out, or you're maybe in a mid-career switch and you're going into elder care as, something that you want to pursue. And either way, at whatever point you are in life, you need to remember that when you learn that the outcomes don't you don't expect things to happen the way that they happen, and outcomes in your learning. Remember, when you get a degree, that's just the beginning, guys. That's just the beginning of your career. So getting the degree is important, but remember, you have a lot of work left to do after that. So That's just a little bit of a life coaching lesson there. That the work will always be there. There will always be more work to do the further you progress in your careers, not only professionally, but academically as well, for those of you that are considering continuing your education. Now, uh, I've told you a little bit about myself as well as the subject matter we're going to be discussing, and I'm going to be providing as much as I can for you to look at for this particular course. I am doing this after my normal quote day job. Uh, so remember that the weeks may vary and the times may vary, but your normal schedule remains the same. So, as is customary, day one, we talk about the syllabus and your requirements listed in that syllabus. So, we'll go over that briefly. You have my contact information located at the top here. I try to make myself available as much as possible. Uh, Now, specifically, I did put this on Wednesday from 2 to 4. I will be answering the phone. I will be by the phone, available to talk. Okay, and I have my direct line there for you to look at, for you to use if you need it. So, again, the title of the course is Politics and Policy of Elder Care. You have a course description, and I'm not going to go through this line by line for you guys. Normally, we would meet in our classroom and I would give you the syllabus, and I would tell you that we will be complete with the class after we finish the syllabus for that day. So I don't try to overwhelm people with a lot of information, but in online learning environment, that's a little bit different. So our discussion today will include a lecture after the syllabus, which is on chapter one. Then you need to know about chapter one. We're going to get into that later. But the course description tells you a little bit about healthcare relating specifically to older Americans, or what we call the elderly, or older adults. There's a number of ways to say it, different ways to say that. So we're going to discuss informal and formal methods of care, and I talk a little bit about home health care. That's what's known as non-institutional care or informal care. Now, the nursing homes and the things that you've heard of, growing up, that's what is known as institutional care. Okay, but particularly as someone who is interested in this subject, uh, which is the reason why you're taking this class, right? And that's one of those jokes that I'm going to throw in there at you from time to time. Particularly, the reason why you're taking this class is so you can learn more to become an effective administrator or a person making policy decisions that deal with this what's known as a vulnerable population. So a lot of these people that you're going to deal with, some of them come from very good socioeconomic backgrounds, others not so much. So it is very much indeed a public policy issue we're going to learn more about. I have some of our goals and objectives listed here. We won't get too much into that. Basically, I want you to learn the processes and how to determine policy relating specifically to older Americans. And we're going to talk about economics. We're going to talk about demographics, medical science, all that stuff, because this is an interdisciplinary subject. It is a lot of information to take in. So you need to understand that as well as we move forward. Now, with that being said, you should all have a textbook. If you don't have a textbook, please contact me and let me know that you don't have a textbook so I can make arrangements for you and reach out to me, communicate if you don't have a textbook. Online class rules and etiquette. Basically, don't do anything foolish. No bad language, no slang, any of that stuff. acronyms, LOL, this, that, and the other. That's okay, but remember, we're in a professional setting. Any of the work you turn in, you need to make sure that you have eliminated all of that stuff. So when you are a person who is writing a doctoral dissertation, such as I am, you become very proficient at reading and writing. And we'll talk a little bit more about plagiarism later, but I am a little bit of a stickler for your written work that you turn in, because in an online setting, that is your only way of communication and telling me and letting me know that you have accepted the ideas and you understand them. Okay, so percentage of course online, content presented online is 100%. That's for this class. Now, the grading scale is on 7-point scale. It's listed right there for you, for those of you familiar with it. If not, become familiar with it. Your evaluation methods, you will have discussions, weekly discussions. There may be an application assignment as well. Now, the final research paper is going to be due the last week of class. Normally, it's on Tuesday or Wednesday. So that gives me some time to get everybody's paper and look at it and talk about it with you and give you some feedback and ultimately enter that as well as your final grade. Late discussions and assignments will be penalized. That ranges, it sort of varies depending on the situation. Okay, I put specific numbers down there, but it may be more or less. That is the absolute minimum. And again, just communicate with me if you're expecting to have a delay or something of that nature. So the point system is broken down for you here on the next page of midterm and a final grading system and how that works. So at the midpoint, we may or may not have a examination. I'll let you know further toward the middle part of the class. All right. So we'll talk more about that later. But the final paper will be considered your final exam. So you will have a final research paper. That is what I can tell you at this point. There may or may not be a midterm exam. That is also what I can tell you at this point. The attendance is listed there. Remember, if you plan to withdraw, there is a difference between withdrawing with and without a W. Without a W is the end of this month, January 2017, and with a W is March 24th, 17. So the thing about online courses is you have to initially log in and participate. That way, the federal government knows if you are receiving financial aid that you are actually doing what you're supposed to do. So keep that in mind, bear in mind that information. Now, technology and learning resources, you basically have to have access to the technological requirements to complete the work. All right. And you have to know how to use Microsoft Word or whatever word processor that you would like. Now, uh, if you have any questions about this, please let me know or contact the IT department. They're able to help as well. All right. ID security, obviously do not misrepresent yourself or anyone else by logging in or as someone else or having someone else log in as you. Discussions, we talked about that a little bit. I need you all to understand that you need to know how this works. So, discussion is due normally on a Thursday, which is day 4 of the week. The learning weeks start on Monday and end on Sunday. So, if you hear me reference day 1 through 7, that's what that means. All right. So, you are expected to understand these things as well as read through the syllabus. Due dates occur on the Central Standard Time Zone. Now, Normally, if it's due on a day, it'll be due at the end of that day, which is 11:59. If you try to get on there and throw Hail Marys at midnight or close to the deadline, then remember it may not work and you're going to be stuck. Uh, because Moodle does go down from time to time. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, you need to, with the discussion specifically, you write a discussion, which is, has to be pretty substantial, meaning 250 to 300 words, and then you reply to two of your colleagues. Okay? So that's how that works. You talk about the problem or the issue, whatever the question is being raised, whatever the case is, and then you respond to two of your colleagues. That's how a discussion works. It does not need to just be, I agree, or I think you're right, blah, blah, blah. It can be, but you need to add something to that. You need to contribute. You're in a discipline as a senior, most of you are seniors or getting close. You're in a discipline where you need to contribute. So when you get to the workforce, if you want to be running the show or you want to be a big shot administrator, you're going to have to be creative and you're going to have to contribute and think on your feet and talk. And sometimes you don't want to talk. And that's how that works. So that's why I have the students do discussions and the application assignments, which is what we're going to talk about next. Application assignments are submitted to Turnitin. If you're not familiar with Turnitin, the resources and the software available for you, please do become familiar with that or speak with Miss Heather Williams. She is our resident computer genius slash IT slash Moodle expert, and she can answer any questions that you may have. She's over there in the Bow Nipper building. As soon as you walk in on the left, and I know because I had to go see her because we all have issues. Even instructors have some technical issues sometimes. So just keep that in mind. Now, the application assignments. If I say it's 2 pages, that means it's 2 pages. That does not mean it's 4 pages. If I say it's 4 or 5, 4 to 5, that means it's 4 to 5 pages. If that means it's 2 to 3, it's 2 to 3. There's no need to become long-winded, or for those of you that try to skip out on the last paragraph, if it says 2 pages, 2 to 3, that means it's not 1.5. Okay, does that make sense? That means you will complete 2 to 3 pages worth of work, or I will deduct points from that. It is your job to meet the assignment minimum requirements. I don't mind going above and beyond, but remember, you need to keep it to a minimum. You're not writing a dissertation here. You're just showing me you've understood the information, okay? And you can synthesize information and discuss it with peers and colleagues. The final paper, I talked about that a little bit, 8 to 10 pages. That means 8 to 10 pages. APA format, again, if you don't know what APA format is, you need to speak with me or go to the library and read up on APA format. All right? And I highly, highly suggest that you get the topic approved with me before you move forward with any type of major work. Okay? So please do that as an advisory to you. Now, I highly advise that. That's not required, but if you have any doubt or any uncertainty about what it is you're going to write, then you need to figure out if what you're writing makes sense. Okay, now the late work, I'm not going to go into everything that you see here on the late work. Pretty much it's due when it says that it's due. And again, if you don't communicate with me and tell me that you're having issues and you can't complete work and expect me to give you a grade or assign you the grade that you earned after that you submit the work and the deadline's already passed, it's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. Uh, I don't have to meet the deadlines here. You have to meet the deadlines. So if there's a deadline coming up, you have to, whatever the case is, if it's your children, your family, if you're in the military, personal sickness, medical reasons, whatever, you have to let me know what is going on. Okay? And if you don't let me know, and you wait till the end of the semester, and then try to go whine about it to the department, uh, and not tell me beforehand, you won't receive any sympathy from me, okay? Because if you sit around and wait on things, and you know that they're due, then you're not doing yourself any justice, okay? So again, you need to schedule the makeup stuff with me, not with the secretary of the Department of Behavioral and Social Sciences, with me, the instructor. Okay, and the only reason I'm harping on this is because somebody pulled this stunt last semester. Okay, you guys, you guys, I have to be in the know with what's going on in your life if you're having academic troubles and difficulty with completing work. Okay, now that's my choice. I'm making the choice to do that. So if you can't meet me halfway, then again, I can't sympathize with you. If you send me an email, all right, sorry about that. We're going to have to pause here in a second. I'll make this very brief. If you send me an email, please follow this outline that you see here. Okay. Last name, first initial, course number. Here's an example right here. Now, I have students that email me on a daily basis. So this helps me figure out who you are and what class it is before I even look at the email itself. Okay. Now, the tentative course outline is something we need to talk about very briefly. Well, it basically is what it says it is. Uh, there's not a whole lot of stuff to say here. Basically, each day or each week, we're going to be going over a chapter, right? Now, this may change, but I will give you notice if it does change. For those of you that like to work ahead, feel free to do that. You have your assigned reading here. So again, if you ever have any question or you feel lost in the class, go back to the course syllabus, okay? And that will guide you. So each part of this course is broken down for you there. It's broken down to 4 parts. Introduction to Politics and Policy of Elder Care, so you learn about it, how it works, factors affecting elder care, and outside factors, elements of elder care, and also politics and policy, sort of the end all to caveat what's going on here in the country. And we're going to talk more about Medicaid, Medicare, and all that good stuff. We're going to get into all of that. I included an addendum that's been on here. I just changed the date to spring 2017. Basically, some people don't understand what they're getting into when they take an online class. So you guys need to become familiar with that and also understand what is an online course. Okay, how does it differ from a traditional class? You have to be more self-motivated or a self-starter, be a self-starter compared to an average traditional class where you go to 2 or 3 times a week. You have an instructor coaching you along and guiding you each step of the way. It's on you to finish the work. Okay, I evaluate what you complete. So if you're not able to complete the work on your own and not have the feel of a notebook and a blackboard and a marker and me standing in front of you writing everything that I say on the board, then you maybe need to consider finding another way to go about your learning, because some people are visual, some are auditory, and some are hands-on. So a lot of people are able to do these classes. They're not very hard, except the senior level classes are a little bit more difficult than obviously a freshman level course or a sophomore class, and for a number of different reasons why. It's pretty easy to understand. Seniors, I expect more out of you than I would a freshman or a sophomore. Okay, so I try to get to your I try to give you feedback as much as I can on your discussions and your application assignments. Now, if I do not do so for some reason, I don't address a point that you made in your discussion or something, please understand that I have read it and I have acknowledged it. I do have a high volume of students to keep up with. So I do acknowledge what you're doing, and I am monitoring what you do and when you do and how much time you spend on here doing this stuff. Now, I included that I'm an adjunct professor. Okay, they don't pay me anything to do this, hardly, most next to nothing. I do this because I love doing it. I love teaching, and I haven't given up on teaching because it's my passion. Okay, it's not a job; it's a passion for me. It's beyond a love; it's a passion. Um, when I have students come back to me and tell me that they succeeded because of something I said or something I did, it's incredibly rewarding. Now, differences in online courses, we talked about that a little bit, and I'm going to have to wrap this up because my battery is getting low on this computer. So, obviously, online courses are good for people that have a lot going on and need more independence. The trade-off with the independence, like I said, is that you have to do a lot of this stuff on your own, which is completely possible. But you have to have a certain type of personality, guys. You have to have a personality that drives you and wants it makes you want to do things and learn without having me standing in front of you in a room. And you have to be able to self-motivate yourself and be an organizer, be a planner, set deadlines for yourself. That's how you learn, guys. When you have a deadline, it teaches you to respect that deadline and complete your work within a time frame. That's how things get done. It's called project management. Now, online students are different. I treat them a little differently in terms of how they learn. So if you do have a certain type of suggestion or some feedback about the learning, please let me know. And I would try to implement, some more videos or more notes or whatever it is that you need to succeed. I will listen to your concerns and I will hear you out because I'm fighting too. I'm a student myself. I'm finishing up my doctorate degree as well. So I'm at the end of the road, and you all are too. And you need to understand that I can be your, uh, I don't want to say friend because, you're not supposed to say that. But let me just say, I could be your worst enemy if you decide to go that route. If you decide that you want to take things into your own hands and do what you want to do and not listen to the instructions that I'm giving, then we're going to have problems. Okay. But those of you that understand that uh, the daily grind of being a student and the academic grind of being a professor are two totally different things. So I am here to see you succeed and to walk across that stage and get your degree. I'm not here to try to make anyone's life difficult, but for those of you that want to be hard-headed, we can certainly go that route as well. Now, like I said, we still will have interactions with each other. You'll just have to be a little bit more creative and understand that you're an independent learner. Okay? So, the rest of this is pretty much a discussion between distance education and traditional education, some of the similarities and differences. And I've already discussed a lot of that. And I won't go into any more of that because, again, I don't want to uh, talk too much here just on the syllabus piece because we have to get into the lecture a little bit later. But I'll be uploading that as well. some other materials. Thank you guys for listening. Stay vigilant, stay aggressive, stay hungry towards your goal, and I will see you guys shortly with our discussion on Chapter 1. Thank you all, and have a great evening.